Hello everyone, I'm Phil the Void and welcome to an Escape from Tarkov PVP tips video. Today I'm going to run you guys through the basics of PvP, which will be split up in three main points: equipment, playstyle, and aim training. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video, we have to have a discussion about your loadout. The reality is, your equipment alone can win you fights with a relatively good skill set.
Okay. I'm holding the door, yeah.
Let's start with armor. There are various classes of armor in Escape from Tarkov, ranging from class 1 to class 6, 1 being the worst and 6 being the best. This goes for both helmets and body armor. There are many things you have to keep in mind when choosing the gear you want to wear. Some have penalties to turning speed and weight, which can affect your stamina. I usually never go lower than class 4 so that at the very least have a fighting chance in most scenarios, and I usually shy away from any heavier armor sets. Next, we have ammunition. The choice of ammo is, in my opinion, the most important selection when it comes to offensive ability. The truth is, if you run weak ammunition, even if you have good aim, that player's helmet can potentially tank it all. So make sure you select the ammunition that can at least deal with the most common armor class you see in whatever time of the wipe you're in. I have links to an ammo chart that can give you the idea of what I'm talking about. To keep things simple, just make sure the ammo has a good flesh damage and penetration value. Next up, we have guns, mods, and player skills. Guns, their mods, and your character skills all affect one another in an important way. Certain firearms are easier to handle while others are heavier with higher caliber ammunition. Some also have less effective modifications. Take all these things into account when choosing your loadout and add your current character's mastery and soft skills to the mix to have a better idea of what will work best for you. Of course, these all take time to develop and you're going to have to do some fact-finding of your own. But it's a good idea to start focusing on the weapons that will give you your best chance of success while still being able to access that weapon reliably through traders. I recommend the AK-74 series, especially early wipe, since it's a common weapon and the ammunition is easy to find. Moving on, we have a bit of a disclaimer more than anything. Equipment/wipe timing. All these tips have different variations depending on what is available to you and the timing of the wipe you're in. For example, if it's early wipe, you're most likely going to run into class 3 and at most class 4 commonly, which means you don't have to spend your cash on the best ammo in the game. You can go with a more cost-effective ammunition. But if you are late wipe, where almost everyone is running class 5 and above, you want that expensive ammo in order to have a chance. It will take some experience to figure these things out, but with a little time, it will become second nature to you and have major effects on your survivability. Now that all the basics have been covered, it's time to get into the nerdy stuff. Playstyles of all kinds exist in Escape from Tarkov, from ex-PUBG players who know nothing but the W key to players who like to take a more stealthy approach, and those who avoid conflict entirely if possible. There are no wrong playstyles and there are no right playstyles. Whatever works and feels natural to you, use it. Identify your playstyle and amplify its positives while trying to reduce its negatives. There are too many players out there trying to be a quote-unquote Chad and throw common sense out the window. Do not be that guy. One of the most important things when it comes to playstyle and actual PvP combat is positioning. The better your position, the more likely you are to capitalize on enemies' weaknesses. Catching them in an open area, while unlocking doors, dirty angles, you name it. This will all come naturally to you with some map knowledge and experience, so make sure you don't shy away from fights unless you have something very important on you or your equipment just doesn't suit the occasion. It also wouldn't hurt you to take a look at some maps that you can find online very easily. Your first wipe is for learning, not becoming the next insert big streamer name. Just keep in mind that there's a high skill curve in this game, there's a lot to learn, so don't get discouraged if you find your survival rate in the low 30s. Next thing you have to keep into account is your tactical advantages and disadvantages. Do you have the high ground? Do you have teammates? Do they have any of those advantages themselves? Are you stuck in a room? Etc, etc. Constantly being aware of what cards you have to play will make a massive difference in your PvP performance, and although this sounds like common sense, a lot of players I Sherpa or watch just don't think this far, because Tarkov is an incredibly complex game, not to mention a very visceral one. Stay calm and collected, and use that noggin. Lastly, we have aim training. This is more for those of you who want to take things a step further and become a more competitive player in Escape from Tarkov. Even though the base game itself is not a competitive game, they do plan to add an arena mode, and good aim is never a bad thing. Since Tarkov allows movement while shooting with very little penalties to accuracy, put some time in tracking, smoothing, and a little bit of flick training, and you'll start hitting shots you didn't even know you could. Just keep in mind this game is not hit scan, so you do have to lead at certain distances. Well, that about sums things up. I hope this video helps you improve and collect a lot of dog tags. Keep in mind this is a beginner level video, so I'll be posting more in the future for those of you who want to go into more detail. But for now, focus on these tips until you know them like the back of your hand. If you think I missed anything in this video or want me to focus on another topic, feel free to say so in the comments below. My name is Phil the Void. Happy hunting.
Sound needed renovation.